Hello everyone, today I'm gonna talk about Vincent van Gogh. So Vincent van Gogh was born in March 30th of 1853 on in Zundert, Netherlands. And he took his name from a dead brother like in the same past year, and like he took the same name and the same birth date. And it's uh, made Van Gogh really melancholy because can you imagine when you discovered that your name became from a dead brother like in the same day, like you two were born the same day. So it it took Van Gogh to a situation that he was melancholy. But Van Gogh was not the only son. He had other five brothers, and sorry, four brothers, and they were Theo, Anna, Elizabeth, and wait, and William. William, yeah. So Vincent's father was Theodorus van Gogh. He was an Ulster country minister, and his mother, Anna Cornelia Carbentus, was a moody artist whose love to paint nature with drawings and paintings. So maybe he started to to paint like influenced by his mother. We don't know, but there's a big chance of it happening. So at the age of 15 years old, Vincent was forced to left school because he and his family were struggling about money, and they didn't have condition to pay his school. So so he and his brother Theo needed to find and search for work, and they ended to getting a job in their uncle's dealership. So both Vincent and Theo started to work in their uncle's dealership. And like on that time, Vincent was already fluent in French, German, English, and Dutch, his native language. But like at 15 years old, you you be like fluent in four languages is really good. So after a time in 1873, Van Gogh was transferred for the same dealership but in another country. So he went to London to work in his uncle's dealership. And when he arrived in London, he was fascinated with the English culture, and he used to use his time in like visiting museums and reading books from wait George Eliot and Charles Dickens. Yeah, so he was fascinated with these two guys. And one interesting fact about Van Gogh is that when he was in London, he fell in love with the landlady's daughter, Eugenia Lawyer, and he offered a marriage proposal for her, and when she rejected it, Van Gogh went in a breakdown. So he started to be angry with the people that he used to work together, and for the customers that went to the dealership, he said for don't buy the worthless art. So after those events, he got fired, of course, because no one that has a dealership want a worker that like say bad thing of your job. So he got fired. But after it, he he became a preacher, and his first work as a preacher was in a Methodist schoolboys. And in 1878, Van Gogh went to Belgium, more specific to a mine coal, and there he draw like the miners and their family, and one of these draws became known as Christ of the Coal Mines. In 1880, 1880, Van Gogh decided to get out this mine and go to Brussels, and finally became an artist. But like Van Gogh didn't have any, like he had never studied art in his life, so he started to like try to read books by himself, like study like alone by own self. And and he read books like Travaux des Champs and Cours de Dessin, French books about art. And like his brother Theo said that he will support him in this idea, like to be an artist. So in 1886, Van Gogh went to Paris to show his first man piece for his brother, and he paid lessons with Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec and Camille Pissarro. And like Van Gogh was really rude with these two guys. Like he started to argue about their works, and like they got full of it and stopped to give lessons to him. So in 1882, Van Gogh went to a 6 weeks trip, like living a nomadic life. So like he didn't have a house. He was always like moving from the region to another region, and during it he was drawing like and painting landscape and its people. So like he was drawing the landscape. He seated in a chair and started to draw like just the landscape, what he saw. And like one really interesting fact about Van Gogh is that he made more than 2,100 paintings. So like it's a lot of paintings and drawings, and like about 860 was just like oil paintings, and more than 1,300 watercolors, drawings and sketches. So like it's a lot of drawings. So one of like maybe you guys should know those famous paintings of him, that is the Starry Night or the Irises. So now I'm gonna talk about the story like behind these works. So the Starry Night, Van Gogh was in a asylum in Saint-Remy in France. Actually, even in Irises and Starry Night, he was in this asylum in France, in Saint-Remy. But the Starry Night, Van Gogh painted this one first on that asylum, and he didn't just draw. He used to send letters for his brother, to his sister and his brother, mainly for Theo. And I wanna read one of these letters for you guys, cause maybe you don't know that he used to send letters for his brother. And one of them is that: "This morning I saw the countryside from my window a long time before sunrise, with nothing but a morning star, which looked very big. he sent this letter for his brother Theo. So in 1889, he painted the irises and like in the same asylum in Saint Remy, France. And like one interesting thing is that critics believe that this work was influenced by Japanese culture. What is interesting because he was in France. Another thing that made Van Gogh really famous was his self-portrait. He has more than 43 self-portraits, what were really difficult to do coming back on that time. And he said a letter for his sister, and I want to read for you guys too because it is really interesting. And it says, I'm looking for a deeper likeness than that obtained by a photographer. And another, this was the letter, and he sent another one for his brother that says, people say, and I'm willing to believe it, that it's too hard to know yourself, but it's not easy to paint yourself either. The portrait painted by Rembrandt are more than a view of nature, they are more likely a revelation. So like beautiful words from Van Gogh. And oops. And in 1888, I'm gonna talk about like a little bit, it is like sad about his life, because he started to have physical issues, and like his psychological health was like going down. He was really bad. And when his brother Theo discovered that, he paid a guy, Paul Gauguin, to watch, to take care of his brother. But one day when Paul like turned around, he saw Van Gogh with a razor in his hand, and like a few hours later, Van Gogh paid a prostitute and asked her to carry the, like he literally offered his ear to her. And like in the next morning, the police found him in his room, bleeding, of course, and they brought him to the hospital. And when Theo discovered that, he got really bad because of his brother's situation. But the doctor said that he will be okay. And when he went out the hospital, Van Gogh went a morning to paint. Like he went out with a loaded pistol, and before he paint, he shot it in his chest, but like he didn't die. This shot like didn't kill him. And like in the a few hours later, the police found again his body bleeding in the room and brought again to the hospital. And when Theo went to visit him, Van Gogh asked to Theo to take him to his home. And on July 29th of 1890, no, sorry. Yes, on July 29th of 1890, at the age of 37 years old, Van Gogh died in his brother's arm. So that was my speech about Vincent van Gogh, a really interesting guy, like quite strange, but like he was a genius. And I wish you guys have enjoyed and learned something about him. Thanks for watching.